All right, so I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but welcome to Recife. And if you're from here, well, I can't really welcome you to your city, so can I say bom dia? And in San Francisco, behind this wall, can you hear us? Can you say bom dia? Yeah, we can't hear them, the wall's too thick. All right. So welcome. It's amazing to see so many of you here. Apologies for the delay. We are incredibly excited that this event is here and that we're here. So my name is Paul. I work for the International Institute for Environment and Development, otherwise known as IIED, is an acronym that you will probably hear 27,000 times this week. We are really excited. I think you all know why you're here, but if you've accidentally wandered in off the street or you're just here for the opening plenary, I thought I would just give you a little bit of an overview of what the CBA conference series is and what it's about and why we're doing this year after year. So what is it about? Apologies also if there are mistranslations on these slides. That is 100% down to me and ChatGTP. Hopefully it's clear-ish enough. Okay, so we have 3 aims for the conference series. This is the 19th iteration and also the 20th anniversary. So it's a huge year for us and we're really excited to be here in Brazil. The aims are that we want to gather together practitioners, researchers, policymakers, actors who engage in locally led adaptation, community-based adaptation, local action on climate change, to share innovations, research outcomes, successes, failures, challenges, and to learn from each other. We want to strengthen existing networks, create new networks where it makes sense, cross bridges, connect people who work at different places at different levels of engagement. And we also want to build capacity. We talk a lot about building capacity, but here what we talk about is building capacity among each other, building capacity from the local level up to the policymakers so they understand what's going on at the local level and what the needs are and how they can best use their power and privilege to facilitate action at the local level. So we build capacity in all directions. Oh, that's that one. I guess the button didn't work. All right. So who's here? We have nearly 400 people here today, which I think might be a record for CBA conferences. But in terms of people who will be here through the whole week, we have about 390 people who are from 78 different nationalities and who live and work in 63 different countries. There's a lot of people from Brazil. So you may turn around and see people from Brazil everywhere, but just know there are 67 other countries and 77 other nationalities represented here in the conference, which is just fantastic. A few more statistics for you. CBA for a long time had the same kind of people coming. We have people coming year after year. We still have those people and they are amazing and they help to really push us forward and move forward. This year, I think we have the highest ever number of new participants, people who've never been to a CBA conference before. 85% of you have never been to a CBA conference before. Boy, are you in for a treat. It is just the best. All right. Also for the first time, more than half, I mean, barely, but more than half of the participants work at the local or subnational level. So we are getting more and more people from local organizations, from local government, from around the world, coming here to discuss these really pressing issues, which is just really fantastic. Another 30% work at the national level in different places across the world, or work as bridging actors, trying to connect different people working on these issues. And then 19% work at the global level, either researchers, donors, philanthropies, other kinds of actors. So the numbers on that slide won't add up because people work in lots of different places. So just to give you a sense, 75% of participants work across Latin America and the Caribbean, but another 35% work on sub-Saharan Africa, 25% work in Asia, and 10% of you did not have to get on a plane to be at this conference, which is fantastic, right? Hyper-local engagement and action, and we are really excited about that. Local organizations and non-government organizations still make up the vast majority of participants, but we're seeing more and more policymakers and government actors engage as well. This is also the first time the conference has operated multilingually. It's usually an English-only conference, and it's high time, not just because we're in Latin America for the first time, it's high time that we operate in the languages that people operate in. It adds a significant additional layer of complexity, but it's going to be great. So be patient, talk with each other, look for stickers on your passes. Hopefully you have them different colors for different languages before you start chatting and assuming someone speaks your language. All right, so you're an amazing group of people. Sorry, I lost my notes. We know that locally led approaches to adaptation are often more effective, more efficient, and more sustainable for the people that they're reaching. But we also know that the flow of funds reaching the local level is woeful. It's abysmal, right? It's a rounding error on global climate finance, which is also insufficient for the challenge ahead of us. So it's conferences like this where we can work on ways and means of pulling more of those resources into locally led approaches. On top of that existing challenge we have with climate finance not reaching the local level, we're also entering into a very different world from the one that we were in even 6 months ago when we started the call for proposals. I think if we put a call for proposals for this conference out today, we would receive a very, very different kind of list of proposals, right? We're seeing climate finance commitments being reneged on. We're seeing overseas development assistance being reduced across the board. We're seeing a turn away from issues like diversity, equity, and inclusion. We're seeing all kinds of things happening that really affect people all over the world and change the way that we need to have these kind of conversations. But it's these conferences that give me hope that we have groups of people, and each one of you here is representing 10, 50, 100, 1,000 other people who couldn't be here, who are also working on these issues and driving this agenda forward. And so it gives me hope. Okay, I'm going to stop in a second and we can move on to the people who actually need to say important things. But I want to make a minute to give a couple of minutes to give a rather long list of thank yous. So it takes a village to raise a CBA conference. And this year it has taken probably a nation of villages to raise the conference. Dozens of people from many organizations have worked countless hours to get us to this point today, which is the very beginning of the conference, and to ensure that you have an amazing experience while you're here. So forgive me if I forget anybody. It was a late night last night, but here we go. I want to thank first our gracious hosts, the state government of Pernambuco. They have been incredible, making this amazing venue available to us, working day and night to make sure that everything was on point. I want to particularly call out Riani, Carla, Mariana, the whole team. You have just been unbelievable. Thank you so much. To our CBA19 programming committee, you can see some logos up here. So I just want to not miss anybody. We have got Fundación Avina, we have got Habitat for Humanity and Habitat for Humanity in Brazil, Forest Trends, and the Pawanka Funds. I kind of want to say if you don't like the agenda, it's their fault, but we probably shouldn't say that. They've been incredible and worked amazingly hard to filter the more than 200 session proposals we received for this conference down to the 27 sessions that we have available this week. It has been a labor of love for them. I want to thank the 9 members of our local advisory committee. I'm not going to try and name them or their organizations because between the 9 of them, I think they represent something like 20 local and national organizations and networks. They have had amazing reach. They have worked incredibly hard to bring together the program, particularly for Dia Altavino on Wednesday, the field visit component, and just making sure that we were really anchored in the local communities when we brought this conference here. I also want to thank our funding partners. I want to thank all of you who bought tickets, but I also want to particularly thank our funding partners. So the UK government, the Gates Foundation, the Climate Justice Resilience Fund, and the government of the Netherlands. Some of you are here. Thank you so much. Without your support, we would not be bringing this conference to Brazil or having it at all. I want to thank our friends at the Global Resilience Partnership for hosting the Shark Tank again this year. Shark Tank is always amazing. You don't need to sign up. It's on every afternoon, just across the road in the Science and Technology building. People can help you get there. It's an incredible experience and really worth engaging in. I want to thank the Adaptation Research Alliance and the Adaptation Fund for helping us to bring a record number of sponsored participants to this event. We have more than twice as many fully covered sponsored participants at the event this year than we have had in the past. I want to thank the more than 200 people, some of whom are here, some of whom are not, who put together session proposals for this conference and worked really hard on them. And we had to disappoint so many people, but we tried to accommodate as many as we could. I want to thank our volunteers. Do we have any in the room? Wave volunteers. It's a lonely volunteer. Okay, we have an army of volunteers who are giving up their time and their resources to help us make this conference a success. They're wearing a t-shirt like this one, and it says volunteer on the back. Be patient with them. They may not have the answer that you're looking for, but they can direct you to someone who will probably have the answer, or to me, and I'll just make something up. Speaking of running smoothly, I want to call out our event manager, Amy, who has just been, I don't even know what to say. She's worked a little bit. And behind the scenes, we have an incredible local production company called Vinca. Do we have Vinca in the room? Yeah, some waving from Vinca. It's Katie over there. They have been unbelievable. They have gone so far above and beyond. So please help them to help you get your message across and to understand what others are saying. Speak more slowly than you ordinarily would. I know I'm probably not doing that right now. Try not to use jargon if you can avoid it. And always look for the stickers if you want to have a conversation with someone. Always use a microphone too. If you're not speaking into a microphone, it won't come through people's headsets. So that's going to be a bit complicated in the thematic sessions, but we'll find a way to make it work. Okay, so last two things. To the team at IIED, you know who you are. I'm not going to name you. I'm not going to ask you to stand up. You have been unbelievable. The team has worked more hours than I think we could fit on a spreadsheet over the last 6 months to bring this conference together. They have gone so far above and beyond. It is incredible. I am awed by their commitment and the way that they have pushed through all number of challenges. I could not think of a better group of people to work with, and they carry me entirely. And I just get to stand up here and say some random stuff. So thank you, IIED team. Okay, lastly then, thank you to all of you. I know you all have things you could probably be doing or should be doing other than being here and spending a week talking about this stuff. It's an immense privilege. And I hope that you engage, that you discuss, that you interrogate, and that you really get the most out of this week that you can. We have an incredible range of sessions on the agenda for you, but make your own sessions. We have long coffee breaks. We have long lunch breaks. Use breakout spaces. Discuss, innovate, form new coalitions, make stuff happen. That's why we're here. Okay, so that's me. Now to hear from our very special guests who are going to formally open the conference for us. Can I bring up to the stage the Acting Governor of Pernambuco, Priscila Krause? I think these stairs are the safest ones. Tom Mitchell, who's the Executive Director of IIED. There's that acronym again. Graham Knight, the Councillor for Climate, Nature, Energy at the British Embassy in Brazil. Ana Luisa Ferreira, who is the Pernambuco State Secretary for Environment and Sustainability. And I can't do the R, and I'm really sorry, but Raquel Ludemir, who is the Policy Advocacy Manager for Habitat Humanity in Brazil. And she's not popular at all. All right, so each of our distinguished guests is going to speak for a few minutes each. And I will call them up as we go. So please, Raquel.
Bom dia. Eita, o povo tomou café. Good morning, everyone. Have we all had breakfast? Stronger. Bom dia. That's good. So first of all, a big thank you to all of those who put this conference together. As a member of the local advisory committee, I would like to welcome the CBA conference in its 19th session to the American continent, to Brazil, to Recife. You are all very welcome. It's the first time that this conference is taking place at this end of the world, so we are very happy. As part of the Habitat for Humanity network, we're also here to celebrate the fact that the urban theme is gaining so much space in an event like this, with so many important people, so many important thought leaders working and thinking about climate adaptation at the community level. We are especially concerned due to the fact that we are in a region where over 80% of the population already lives in cities, in urban areas. And we see all across the global south, the urbanization growing so rapidly. So we're really here to say and to underpin that there will be no climate justice if there's no housing justice, if there's no urban reform. So we really need to understand that people are not living in hazard-prone areas by choice, but as a lack of choice. So they're really trying to find the best way that fits their affordability, that fits their family needs. So that's why there are so many people. When you walk around the city, you'll see so many people living in hazard-prone areas. So there's a lack of housing justice that will affect directly climate justice if we do not take care of it appropriately. We also want to appreciate Paul and IIED's team and all the partners organizing this event to convene and to allow us to put together a local advisory committee to really connect the global dialogue with what's happening on the ground in Brazil, in Recife, and to really anchor this conference here. So the local organizations, we're 9 of them. I'll speak their name. Yeah. Habitat for Humanity, Centro Sabiá, Gris Espaço Solidário, Somos Todos Muribeca, Comissão Ambiental do Jaboatão dos Guararapes, Ibura Mais Cultura, Observatório Popular das Injustiças Climáticas, FASE e CONAC. We're very, very pleased to have you here. And we prepare some out-of-the-box experiences for you on Wednesday morning. You'll see during the field trips, but also on Wednesday evening, you'll see the festival that we call, with a play on words, we call the Climate for Change Festival. And there will be music, poetry, but also some space for you, for all of us really, to share our ideas to delay the end of the world. We know the world is ending. We are inspired by an indigenous leader called Ailton Krenak. There's an important text by him that we really recommend. So it's really ideas to delay the end of the world. And finally, we're also preparing 2 sessions. The first one is about anti-racist climate adaptation at the community level. You're all invited. And also some information, some session and discussions on the semi-arid experiences on the countryside of Brazil. So in a nutshell, we're very happy to have you here. We really look forward to learning and sharing, but most of all, to see what kind of messages we want to take towards the COP30 in Belém, but also beyond that to our daily practices, our everyday practices. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Raquel. And can I call Ana Luisa?
Bom dia a todas as pessoas presentes. Cumprimento a todas em nome de nossa governadora em exercício, Priscila Krause, do nosso diretor do IIED, Tom Mitchell, de Graham Knight, chefe da divisão de clima da Embaixada do Reino Unido no Brasil, e de Raquel Ludemir, gerente de incidência política da Habitat para a Humanidade Brasil e representante do comitê local organizador desse evento. Cumprimento também a cada um e cada um desse tão importante comitê local que faz com que a gente realmente tenha raízes nos territórios. Eu aproveito para agradecer a toda a equipe que contribuiu para a realização de um evento tão grandioso, que tanto nos honra hoje no estado de Pernambuco. Hoje é um dia muito feliz e eu vou contar para vocês sobre uma suposta coincidência que contribuiu para a gente estar aqui hoje. Em junho do ano passado, nós fomos convidados pela Embaixada e pelo Consulado, né, em Pernambuco do Reino Unido para expor as nossas políticas e ações, especialmente o PERMEI, o Plano Pernambucano de Mudança Econômica e Ecológica, na Semana de Ação Climática de Londres. E em um dos eventos lá, eu tive a sorte de sentar ao lado de Tom Mitchell. Nos apresentamos e ele me explicou sobre o trabalho do IIED e sobre este evento aqui, que é o CBA. Tom me explicou que o CBA nasceu como um contraponto saudável à COP. A COP se originou como um evento para chefes de Estado, para a elite política, que termina sendo a elite econômica, dos países que dominam o mundo. Sendo que quem mais sofre e quem sabe o que fazer para reverter e conviver com as mudanças climáticas não está nas elites, está com a mão na massa, vivendo nos territórios. E há 19 edições, o CBA é esse respeitado evento pré-COP, focado nas comunidades, nas pessoas, naqueles mais vulneráveis em seus territórios e que estão na contramão das mudanças climáticas. Quando o Tom me contou isso sobre o CBA, na hora eu me mobilizei com um alinhamento com a nossa visão. A visão da governadora Raquel Lira, da governadora em exercício, Priscila Krause, vice-governadora. Desde o primeiro dia de governo, elas deram a diretriz para que as ações de meio ambiente e sustentabilidade de Pernambuco tivessem como diretriz básica a justiça ambiental e a justiça climática. Muito obrigada ao IIED por ter decidido por trazer esse evento para Pernambuco. Muito obrigada ao comitê organizador local por ter estado junto do IIED, trazendo esse evento para Pernambuco. O grande desafio desta gestão é colocar a sustentabilidade ambiental e social no foco do desenvolvimento econômico do Estado. E assim temos feito. Dentro dessa missão, uma das grandes metas é plantar 4 milhões de árvores em Pernambuco. E a gente sempre se recusou a apenas distribuir 4 milhões de mudas. Distribuir mudas é sim importante para a educação ambiental, tem efeito, mas a gente precisava ir além. Lançamos, através da CPRH, a Agência Estadual de Meio Ambiente de Pernambuco, o primeiro edital, o edital Caatinga, de 16 milhões de reais, com o compromisso das primeiras 500 mil árvores, liderado pela Fundação Araripe, em parceria com CERTA, com Agenda, com Agrodóia, Centro Caatinga, IFPI, Univasf e ICMBio, fomentando uma rede de viveiros de mudas de espécies nativas, reflorestando unidades de conservação na Caatinga, com monitoramento georreferenciado. Passamos a planejar os editais seguintes e evoluímos ainda mais. O que está saindo do forno tem foco em reflorestar reservas legais e APPs de assentamentos da agricultura familiar, em pagar por serviços ambientais os agricultores familiares, as comunidades e povos tradicionais e outras populações que plantam cuidando do solo e das nossas nascentes. No ano passado, reduzimos o desmatamento como um todo no estado, mas fomos o único do Brasil a conseguir reduzir o desmatamento no bioma Caatinga, também através da CPRH. Na área urbana, temos muito orgulho das ações do governo, que serão detalhadas em alguns painéis nesta conferência. Enquanto Secretaria de Meio Ambiente e Sustentabilidade, nos cabe coordenar a pauta climática no estado, mas sabendo que o tema é transversal e que as ações de impacto para a justiça climática serão executadas, na verdade, por secretarias como as de Desenvolvimento Urbano e Habitação, de Recursos Hídricos, de Mobilidade e Infraestrutura, de Projetos Estratégicos, de Ciência, Tecnologia e Inovação, de Justiça e Direitos Humanos. E essas ações são robustas. O foco está efetivamente em levar dignidade às pessoas em seus territórios. Logo no início do governo, no planejamento estratégico e operacional da Secretaria, um levantamento das oportunidades do Estado nos fez diagnosticar a força de uma rede de organizações socioambientais locais muito forte, muito experiente e muito resiliente. Então, hoje, é com muita felicidade e esperança que a gente recebe o CBA19. Recebemos de braços abertos essas pessoas de 70 países, líderes em diversos setores, que a gente aproxima das nossas lideranças locais, na certeza que muitos excelentes frutos nascerão desses dias em Pernambuco, de trocas e aprendizados. Sairemos todos ainda mais fortes. Obrigada.
Thanks so much, Ana Luisa. And I can ask Graham to come up, please. You might need to make this really tall.
Bom dia para todos e todas. Espero que todos estejam bem. Como vocês podem ver, falo português, mas vou compartilhar minhas palavras em inglês hoje. So my name is Graham Knight. I'm the climate counsellor in the British Embassy in Brasilia. I'm here with my colleagues from the British Consulate here in Recife, who manage all of our cooperation here with the local government in Pernambuco. It really is a pleasure to be here, and thank you to colleagues on the screen and colleagues in the room who are here for this fantastic conference. The UK really is proud of our record in supporting climate initiatives overseas, and this is a good example of that. And I think we all recognize in this room the challenges that we face are enormous, and they have only become greater following elections in different parts of the world, following conflicts that have affected the UK and other countries in Europe. And we've had to take very difficult decisions. But I think what we're trying to do in the UK is, while we recognize the challenges, we're also trying to think about how we innovate. And this is particularly important when it comes to climate adaptation, and particularly important in terms of conversations around the financial aspects of climate adaptation. So in the UK, we have a strategy that focuses on 5 areas, some of which will be obvious to you, such as the energy transition, protecting ocean and land resources. But we're also looking at how we reform the international financial infrastructure, the multilateral infrastructure, so that it's fairer for developing economies, so that it unlocks the scales, the quantums of finance that we've committed to, and supports initiatives focused on mitigation, on climate adaptation, on forest protection, on protecting biodiversity. And we're very focused on that agenda as we come in to COP30 in Belém. Now, I have to say I'm glad that I work for the British government and not the Brazilian government, given the scale of the challenge that Brazil faces in Belém. But what I can assure everyone here is that the UK government will approach the negotiations in Belém with ambition, with flexibility, and a desire to really push the agenda forward, both on mitigation and adaptation. And as our Foreign Secretary has said, while there is a much greater focus on growth as a priority for the British government, there is no growth in a world that is unprepared for climate impacts that are growing every day. So we are using the power of the City of London. We're using our science and technology expertise with the UK Meteorological Office to support countries like Brazil to be better prepared for the climate challenges that we face now and the greater climate challenges that we will face in the future. Now, it's initiatives like these that are really important in terms of taking grassroots voices to climate conferences, to international negotiations, and making sure the voices of local communities are heard. I think this year, with an ambitious government in Brazil, a government that wants to balance the agenda between mitigation and adaptation, I really think there is a real window of opportunity. Despite the challenge that we know, there's a real ambition and a real window of opportunity to advance this agenda. So I would encourage you to make the most of these days that you have in Recife, to make the most of your discussions, the coalitions that you will build, and really think about how you take that agenda forward in Belém and in the negotiations that will happen there later this year. Thank you very much to our partners once again, to the local government of Recife, and I wish you every success over the next few days. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Graham. Tom.
Thank you very much. My name's Tom Mitchell. I'm the Executive Director of IIED, and I'd also like to extend Paul's welcome to everybody here to CBA19 And thank you so much to our partners in hosting, to Acting Governor Priscila Krause, to State Secretary Ana Luisa Ferreira, and to our colleagues, partners, and everybody who's come together to make this conference such a special occasion. Just I want to speak personally also about the kind of serendipity that led to CBA19 coming to Brazil and to Recife. First is I want to thank the Climate Justice Resilience Fund, one of the organizing partners who stood up at our last conference in Arusha and said, we really think that the next conference needs to be in Latin America and it needs to be in Brazil, because it's a fabulous opportunity to connect to the Latin American community, but also to influence a COP process. So a big thank you to the Climate Justice Resilience Fund. And then also very quickly after that, I had the opportunity to be at a dinner together with Ana Luisa, as she mentioned, and we got talking over dinner, just completely at random, that we were sat next to each other, and said, oh, well, we're thinking of bringing CBA19 to Latin America. How about coming to Pernambuco? And so she did a fabulous job of selling the incredible work that is going on here. And I think in that sense, we really do recognize the value of being based with a local community, with local organizers, being able to talk about projects and investments from the state. And in that, we're very lucky to have that opportunity, and really would encourage everybody to get out to look at the projects that will come later in the week.